Well, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Show Up Central Oregon. It seems like I always adjust my mic, even though I shouldn't be doing that. We have a very interesting experience here. We are being joined, obviously, Fridays, every Friday. Go ahead and wave again, Cheri. Cheri is actually in her restaurant, this is the first time that she has joined us from her restaurant. Been out of her house actually while we've been doing this whole thing. So let's since you're there, let's talk about you opening up, and then we'll get into some of the other state interesting things. So as a business owner, how does it feel to be open now at this point in time, Cheri?
Thanks, Matt, for having me on as always. I always enjoy our conversations. So today I'm wearing a little bit different hat. As Matt said, I'm a business owner and I'm in my business. So I have my mask on because that's a required policy of all the employees. And we want to make sure that we're following that. So reopening has been a journey for us. We've been trying to accommodate all of the regulations that are put forward and make sure we're doing our best to protect our staff and protect the community as we reopen. The most important thing that we can do as a community is make sure we do not have a surge and that we protect everyone from having a surge by following the procedures and protocols that are put in place to limit the disease spread. So we have been getting signs off of the Deschutes County page. We've had them laminated, and these are all about what it's going to take to come into the restaurant and all the proper procedures and protocols that we've put in place so that you know that you're safe when you come here, that we're sanitizing every hour on the hour. Every surface, light switch, doorknob, computer, cutting board, so that everyone has, knows that we have their best interest in mind. We have other signs where we're going to be asking people if they've experienced any fever, cough, symptoms for the last 72 hours to make sure that they're healthy and safe. And if they have had these symptoms, we're going to ask them not to come until 72 hours after they have not had these symptoms. We also have put together in the last 48 hours a temperature log. We are going to be taking our staff's temperature with an infrared thermometer every day when they enter the building so that we know that they are safe to come to work. And we will be keeping this log so that everyone knows, so that if there's any, tracing that needs to go backwards, that they can see that everyone did not have a fever while they were working in our space. So we have that. Did I show you this yet? This is our manual.
Oh my.
It's about 50 pages. I don't know if you can see how thick it is.
Yeah.
Very thick. And the final page, it talks about how to protect our community, how to protect the spread. It goes through all these steps. Deschutes County put together all of this, and it's available on their website. I did give a copy to the Chamber of Commerce, and Katie is going to scan this and put it up. And then we put together our own procedures and protocols, which we are doing by wearing masks, doing the 6-foot distancing, extra sanitation procedures, and we have that. And then we have a signature page for all of our staff so that they can sign off on that they understand how not to spread the disease before we open. So I know today is opening day, but we are just not ready yet. I've spent the morning with my husband and my kids moving furniture. We have to have every table 6 feet away from each other. And so in order to accommodate that, we needed to remove a lot of tables and chairs. All the bar stools are gone. All the high top chairs are gone as well, so that we make sure that we are having that space so everyone is socially distanced appropriately. So I can walk you around, Matt, and show you that if you guys...
Yeah, let's do that, Cheri. That sounds good.
This is the first time I've been with a laptop in the front of my restaurant, and I've never done a tour. So we'll walk you around a little bit and see if you can see. One of the things that I want to tell everybody is when you're going out to dine, the seating capacity is going to be very limited in order to make sure there's proper social distancing. So make sure you make a reservation, because we're not going to have as many seats in town as we did before this started. For an example, we had 144 seats and we now have 50. So here are our seats in our dining room. As you can tell, there is way more open space than there are seats and chairs.
Yeah.
What's going to keep us all able to dine safely in restaurants and feel comfortable with that. I can walk you through. We installed a sneeze guard yesterday. Can you kind of see that?
Yep, I see it. Yep.
There's a sneeze guard there to protect our staff and our customers. We've got our signs up on the doors to make sure that everybody can see that. We're also going to do something really kind of fun. My daughter came up with this. So whenever you need a creative solution, turn to the 19-year-old art student in the house. This is going to be our menu boards. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, there. There's the menu boards. She put those together, and then we're going to have you take a picture of them when you come in so that it's on your phone. Because then we don't have to have needless waste to have single disposables, and we don't have to have them everywhere. And everyone's comfortable with their phone, and there's not many people that don't have one at this point. This is the big room here with the window open.
Yeah.
There's the table. We have 2 tables in this entire area. The big booth is in the back now. And then we have this giant window open. That's what we've been doing to go, but we'll have to change that when we get moving. But we have no bar stools at all or chairs in this room.
Oh, wow.
So this is going to be, we're working on getting the printed signs for the floor because we need to have one-way walkways. Those will be back later today, and we'll be putting those down. So that is a little perspective from the restaurant industry. I can also show you a little sneak peek, but don't tell my husband that I did this.
Okay, I won't. He won't see it online either, Cheri. I'm sure.
So he doesn't Facebook, so it works.
Okay, good.
The kitchen is all taped off so that, do you see it?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I lost you.
No, I'm here. I'm still here.
So the kitchen's all taped off so that the cooks and staff also have 6-foot social distancing. So that's kind of a little fun, sneaky, behind the scenes social distancing because it doesn't look as it normally used to. We look like we are operating in a basketball court.
Yeah. That's a very unique perspective, and I think a lot of our viewers have not really. We've mentioned it a few times, so I don't know that they realize that you have, you've been a business owner for many, many years now, and so this is obviously a unique perspective of sort of a behind the scenes of you as a business owner. I'm going to throw this out there for you. How are you feeling about being open right now?
So our priorities right now are to make sure that we are protecting our employees and our customers, and that we lay out procedures that we feel comfortable with. We don't want to open up today because we're just not ready yet with all the signs on the floor. But it's really important for us as business owners that we prevent any surge, because we want to maintain the ability to stay open through, the rest of the future. And we also want to do our part to protect our community and our most vulnerable. So this is really very important for us to get it right. And that's why we've spent all this time over the last 2 days writing manuals, getting signs laminated, because if we put paper signs up, we wouldn't be able to keep them sanitized. And so I wanted to make sure that we had it so that we are, able to sanitize everything that is on a surface every hour on the hour.
Yeah, I think it's. I love that. You said your daughter came up with that idea. I think that's actually a brilliant idea for the menus. I was curious how restaurants were going to do that. I mean, it's just such a no-brainer, I think, more than anything else.
Well, and she took all that time with those little teeny letters, putting them on that old school push board. So it's really cute and fun. And I think it's going to be super practical. Another thing that it does is we put the menu boards down where the benches are when you enter so that no one sits on those, because we don't want anyone sitting there because it's not socially distanced. When you walk in the restaurant, you're going to have to stop. I can take you outside a little bit. You're going to have to stop in the middle right here and look at the menus in the back, take a picture, but then also not get closer to the greeter stand. So only one reservation at a time will be able to stay in this small space. But what we're going to do is, I am locked out. What we're going to do is have people wait outside, because outside has so much more space.
Right.
And then let them in one at a time so that they can take their picture of the menu and then go get sat. But we'll have people standing out here before you come in, and then we will have some printed on the sidewalk behind me. We will have some printed feet so that you can stand on the feet. Mm-hmm. We have informal X's for the to-go over here,
right,
which are socially distanced. So when you come and pick up your food, you know how far you are apart from each other. But since this is going to be a more formal process and we'll have more customers, we wanted to make sure that it was really clear what it looked like. So there will be a stop sign right out there on the ground in front of the door so that people know. And then on the outside of the door right here, you can see the...
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Like we none of us want people to come in that are sick. It really goes back to the whole thing that we've been saying all along, right? The best things, the one thing that's remained constant through this whole time is that we have to wash our hands, that we have to stay 6 feet away from people. We've added the masks, and those are the things, hand sanitizer when you can't wash your hands. Mm-hmm. And we've added not anything really new in the prevention of the spread. So it's really important that we maintain that cleanliness of surfaces and that we maintain that social distance and we maintain areas where people can wash their hands and use hand sanitizer. Oh, I didn't show you the hand sanitizer. So we have more on order, but we have a hand sanitizer dispensher. Hey, Brenna.
How are you?
I'm good. This is one of my customers, Brenna. I'm on a live interview.
Oh, yeah?
So, hello.
Hand sanitizers right there so that when the customers pick up their to-go boxes, which are right there,
right,
that they can use hand sanitizer.
Okay.
And we'll have that at every entrance and exit just to make sure that people are safe.
Right.
So I guess what I would like people to take away from it is, as business owners, we have really put in a lot of thought into how to protect our community, our employees, and our customers.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's a good point. And I know we talked about it, I think, a little bit as far as on Tuesday, as far as, that as a business, you had to do a little research, and it's one of those things that, it's like, okay, to open now, if you hadn't done your research, it would have been a real jam to get open today. It looked like there was a lot of cars downtown too. How are you thinking, we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks? Obviously, we can jump into the numbers here in a little bit, but, how are you feeling about, obviously being open and what this is looking like for us as a state?
So the thing that I want to really stress is that this responsibility of making sure we don't spread the disease is not businesses alone. This is community members that are going to stop the spread of the disease. Wearing a mask because you want to protect vulnerable people is very important. Making sure that you step 6 feet away from everybody and not crowd in is very important. And that is going to be, if our community can embrace those principles and washing your hands and using hand sanitizers after you touch anything, that's going to help us keep our curve flat. We've done a lot of work as a community to make our curve flat. And now we have to, make sure that every person is doing their part to keep our curve flat. And as a business, we're doing our part. But if we're not doing that part at the park, or when we're walking down the street, or when we're parking our cars, then we put us in jeopardy of all the work that has been done. And the last thing anyone wants to do is have a surge in this disease and bring us back to where we were before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's go through those. Let's talk a little bit about those numbers. How are we doing, Cheri, as far as from the state level at this point in time?
Okay, let's change hats.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay, so from a COVID new cases statewide, we have 63 new cases today. We had 2,700 tests statewide in the last 2 days with a 2% positive rate. Now, for those of you that have been watching this more than once, I talk about the positive rate frequently, and we went from 4 to 3, and now we're just above 2, which is really good. So that means that of the people that are being tested, only 2% of them are positive. That's an indicator that the curve is flattening. And that is what we're watching to make sure that we are ready for this reopening. So I believe with this testing information, we are in a good spot. As long as we do this safely and cautiously, we can bring back our economy and keep our economy strong while we flatten the curve. Mm-hmm. So then we also had, I wanted to do local numbers.
Oh, yeah. Do you have Jefferson's in there, by the way, out of curiosity? That's my own.
I do not.
That's my own. I'll see if I can find it on the Oregon Health Authority while you're going through that. So
okay. 58 positive cases out of St. Charles in total since this started. We had 114 positive cases since this started out of Deschutes County. 2,812 tests now, and 161 pending tests. So I think those numbers have not risen the way that we thought they would because of all of the work that our community has done. And I hope we continue to do great work while we are able to go out and eat and get our hair cut. I know my family is really looking forward to getting rid of some COVID hair do's that have been done over the time. My husband let our daughters shave the sides of his head, and he has a COVID hairdo. So we're looking forward to the barbers being open. I know barbers and hairdressers have particularly struggled a lot through this because they are independent contractors and they don't qualify for unemployment insurance. And so with the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, that's a brand new program that has never existed before, which means that the unemployment department had to write that according to the federal government's regulations and get it up and running. And that has been a really, really cumbersome, time-consuming process. And so we have hairdressers and barbers, and none of them, not one of them, has received any income through this. I can't tell you how many calls I get from people that they're running out of their savings. I'm helping connect them with rental and food assistance because of this crisis. So I would encourage you, if you feel safe and if you haven't had any symptoms in the last 72 hours and you need a haircut, to please do so and do it safely, but make sure that we're supporting our hairdressers because their payments still have not come for their unemployment. And I know a lot of them are struggling.
Yeah, and my philosophy during this time is those of us who are employed, and that's is even for your servers at the restaurant even, I'm kind of like, you know what, here's, 40% as opposed to 20%. So, that's been sort of my philosophy, give it forward, pay it forward, because that's in the long term, it all benefits all of us. And
another thing I wanted to mention as restaurants, we're trying to put together a schedule, and that's one of the impeding things of getting us open, because we want to put together teams of people that work together every week so that we're limiting exposure to our customers and to our staff at the same time.
So another question for you, and I think we're pretty good with the numbers. I mean, as far as we've covered them, I think we're good there. I know that you sent a letter to the governor a few days ago. Was it was it a few days ago, Cheri? I can't remember. It was. I know you posted on your Facebook page. I wasn't sure when you sent that letter. I have it. It's right here. This one right here, basically. This topic that has come up in this whole pass-fail versus letter grade, and I know that in one of the other programs that I helped produce, Combat COVID-19, we talked about that whole pass-fail versus letter grade. And I know that you serve on the state school board. Is that correct, Cheri? So what has been your feeling on this whole pass-fail versus a letter grade?
I really think that we should went with the example. In LA, they bargained a contract early on for their district, and LA Unified District is about 600,000 students just in LA. And our state, to put in perspective, is 580,000. So we're very, very close to the same size. And they bargained a contract where I thought they hit a really great note on, which was to allow kids to have pass-fail and then opt into grading if they wanted, so that you're not punishing the kids for learning at home if they're struggling with it. But if they are trying to get into a top college, or if, let's just say, you had a tough year your freshman year and you've turned your life around and you want to really go to college instead of, a good college instead of where you will end up from your freshman grades, you're going to need more grades to be able to bring that grade point average up. It doesn't come up unless you have a number of grades that are better. Mm-hmm. So what they did was allowed kids to be able to choose if they wanted grades or not. And I thought that was a really great spot to land in, not making them mandatory. It would also, be better for teachers too, because it wouldn't be that they had to grade every student, because I'm sure not every kid wants grades. And so, Matt, I'm not sure what kind of student you were in high school, if you would have picked grades or not. I'm not making any judgments here.
Well, I can tell you that unfortunately my GPA for being an honor student was calculated by the third quarter. We were in quarters of my senior year, and I didn't have a large class load, but let's just say I pulled a 4.0 in my fourth term, and I was really bummed that I was then 0.03% or something off of getting at least a 3.6. So I was a decent student, but I wasn't a valedictorian. Let's just put it that way.
You were an overachiever, 4.0. Let's give you some credit.
Well, let's just say I had six classes, and I think four of the six were band classes. So there you go.
I think, though, you make a really good point. I don't know if this is a point you were trying to make, but you remember your GPA from your senior year right now off the top of your head, and it really meant something to you. And
it did.
If it would have been a pass or fail grade, I'm pretty sure you would have not said, I passed my senior year.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely one of those that I think that it was an accomplishment to get to where I got. And I do know that I was able to, because of that, it helped me get a scholarship through COCC. So it did help. I mean, it was basically based on that plus my performance ability. But yes, that definitely did help, Cheri. So I completely am in agreement with you for sure.
So I think that scholarships is another point that you bring up that is really, really important. I think that a lot of kids, we all know how expensive college is. And it is really expensive. And if you take away some of those scholarships, which are nationally based, and not all states went with this policy, it's going to hurt our kids. And I really would like us to reconsider that so that we can give those kids that want the chance, but not require it. So I think it's a reasonable place to land and a reasonable ask.
So I agree. And that's just me. I am actually I've taken a fairly neutral, but I would totally agree with you on this one for sure. I'd like to move on though, because I know you have an opening tonight, so I don't want to take you too much.
We're not opening tonight.
Oh, not opening tonight. When are you opening?
No, we're just doing to go. So to go is busy enough, but we don't have those signs on the floor yet. and we're not ready 100%. So we're going to make sure that we get those training books to our staff. They have time to digest them, get them signed, to get them back to us. Now, that's not to say that other people can't be open and didn't do a great job getting there. It's just that we haven't gotten to where we're 100% comfortable yet to open up. So what we're going to do is do to go. And I also want to remind everybody that to go for restaurants is going to still be a very valid option for every restaurant because of the fact of how limited our seats are. And that if we can have to go sales that help offset the lack of seating, that'll really help a lot of our smaller restaurants survive.
Right.
So whatever restaurant you're going to, if they didn't have a reservation, don't hesitate to still do to go, please, because that'll help us keep Central Oregon looking like Central Oregon when we're all done with this.
Absolutely. And I do know that let's see, man, it would almost be right back through your back door, block away with Jules. I know that they're in a case where they're not sure they can open just because of their own seating, and how they put 6 feet apart. So I think to go is, in fact, I encourage everybody, if you're thinking about getting food tonight and you're going to go to a restaurant, maybe just order to go, just because we don't know where we're going to be, and it still may take a long time tonight. So,
and if you're trying to go out tonight, make sure you try and get a reservation. Let the restaurants know, because one of the things that's going to be difficult is monitoring all the people that come with the social distancing. So we're working under a whole new schedule of how things look. And if we have to monitor a lot of people that we can't let in to make sure they're spaced apart, that's going to be really challenging for restaurants. So give them a call, let them know you're coming, and make sure they have enough seats.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Jules and I, we do share an alleyway, and we were chatting earlier this week. Social distancing appropriate.
Yes.
So, but yeah, that is challenging because of the space that they have to get enough seats. So I believe they're still going to be doing to go. I'm not sure, they hadn't decided when I talked to them earlier this week if they were going to be opening or not, because the policy hadn't been decided on yet. So right. I would encourage you to call them if you want to dine there and get takeout and see if they're open or not, because it's going to be really important that we preserve all of our local restaurants. They do a great job, and we want to keep them as our alley neighbors for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. So now, keeping your legislative hat on, what would you do to encourage businesses right now during this opening time? Just giving any words of wisdom to the business owners.
Well, I want to turn you to the Bend Chamber to look for their resource guide. I also posted that on my Facebook, because there's going to be a lot of PP&E needed. There's going to be a lot of stickers you need for the floor. The one-way exits and entrance have to be taped off and able to be followed by all the customers. So just make sure that you are looking towards your resources, because we don't have the time to invent all of this. So make sure you're looking towards Deschutes County Public Health. They have a great site. The Chamber has gathered as many resources to help as they can, so as the city, and use those resources to make sure that you have what you need. And if you need something that you think I can help with at my state office, please email or call, and we'll get right back to you and try and help you the best we can. Because when we open restaurants, my husband and I always say to each other that we are bolting the wings down as we take off the airplane. Mm-hmm. And this is sort of like that, because even though this is what we do and have done for 16 years, it's very different. And it is like, I know every business owner is doing something different. So it's a little bit like bolting the wings on while you take off the airplane. So don't feel like you have to create it all yourself. If you're a small business owner, turn to the Chamber and the county. And if you need my help, please do that as well, because we can all get this done safely and not recreate the wheel, 5,000 times in Bend.
Right, exactly. So out of curiosity, you said you're not opening. Do you have a feeling when you might open, Cheri?
We're looking towards next week.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So we'll check in on Tuesday and see how you're doing, basically. So,
Yep.
anything else, Cheri, you want to add before I let you go?
I think I had a graphic on stay home, not stay home,
Oh
stay
yeah,
safe.
let me put that up real quick.
Just kind of teaching people the things to be considering. I know we've talked about them multiple times, so just make sure that you're keeping that in mind as we're moving along.
Let me grab that here real quick. So it's this.
And I think that this is really important moment for our community. If everybody can follow all the rules that we need, we can keep our businesses safe and our citizens safe and our businesses strong. And I think that is going to be a great spot as we venture towards getting a vaccine or a treatment for this disease, because we can't do them independently of each other. We've got to find that sweet spot, and hopefully that's where we are right now. So if we all can follow the rules and keep the spread down while, getting out there and spending money and keeping people employed, I think that's going to be great. So
yeah, I totally agree.
Fingers crossed, and data and scientific protocol in hand, we move forward together.
Great. Cheri, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. Best of luck on your opening process there. And it's always a pleasure, and you have a great weekend.
Thanks so much, Matt. I'll see you on Tuesday. Everyone stay safe out there and enjoy getting your hair cut and your favorite restaurants while you're socially distanced and being safe.
And tip big.
Yeah. Your hairdresser and your server.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Cheri. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
That was Cheri Helt. So yeah, that was fun. I don't think it's kind of fun. I mean, it's difficult, obviously, for these business owners to be, struggling with, what does this look like? But at the same time, you could see how, what it looks like for businesses. And she gave us some good tips. If you are planning on going out, it is important that you, check for reservations because capacity is going to be probably, at least depending on the restaurant, it'll at least be a half to 3/4 of what it was. So, it's important to sort of look at that and say, okay, well, if I am going to a restaurant, do they have the seating? I would also encourage you, if you have anybody that is potentially more of in the at-risk category, you might want to just order out. Especially if they're close. You don't want to necessarily potentially bring home something to those people. I know that we all want to go out. We all want to support businesses. We all want to do those things. But we also have to look at our own homes and what might be going on until we have a sort of a good handle on what's going on. I think it's always a good idea to have that as an option. I wanted to share one more thing with you. This community has been grieving the loss of some people this last week. And I think it's important to recognize in these moments that how precious our relatives are, our friends, our family are. It's extremely important. And we don't know when today may be our last day. We don't know it all. And the reality is we need to treat today as the last day of our lives. I just encourage all of you to obviously with the physical distancing, I encourage all of you to, practice that. But if you have those family members, if you have those quarantine families, if you have those, give them a hug. Tell them you love them. It's extremely important right now. I just wanted to leave that with you guys as we go into the weekend, because loss is tough for a lot of people right now. And so if you know somebody, just let them know too that, you love them and that you care about them. Thoughts, prayers are with them and the family. Those sort of things just mean a lot to everyone. All right, everyone. I'm going to shove off for tonight. Actually, for the weekend. Next week is going to be a normal week, I believe. Just take some time this weekend. If you've been working a lot, take some time to be down. Take some time for yourself. Take some time with the family. Enjoy each other's company. And don't get locked into this whole, we are opening. Yes, we're opening, but we cannot lose sight of the fact that we have a lot of people in our lives that we spent a lot of good quality time with over the last little bit, and we need to cherish those opportunities, and moving forward we need to keep those. So hey everyone, have a great weekend, and remember, show up for Central Oregon.